Well, thank you very much, Olive Barrows. I'm actually live and joining the broadcast from Taveta. It's just a few meters from Kenyan-Tanzanian border. And indeed, I've been following up on several stories, including up on the managing director of a farm related to Deputy President William Ruto, was arrested last week and was taken to police station and later released on a bond. And this was due to a negotiation that was made that there was an extension of bail, that he was supposed to appear at the Taveta Law Court before the principal magistrate, and later it was suspended. It was postponed to this day. That was on a Friday of this week, and we are expecting him to appear before the principal magistrate at the Voi Law Court. But indeed, we have some information that they are going to have a mutual agreement between the Tavevo and the managing director over the same case. And as well, the arrest happened that the farm was accused of diverting and disconnecting water from Taveta people to his farm. And as well, later on in the day, I'll be going to Wundanyi, where I'll be joining the members of County Assembly of Taita Taveta on a supplementary budget issue, whereby we are expecting the supplementary budget presented by Governor Granton Samboja to be passed in the County Assembly of Taita Taveta. Remember, there was a controversy last year, that is, and last week as well, we had contractors complaining over not being paid their dues. And when the county government respond, they say that until the supplementary budget of 2019-2020 is passed, that's when they are going to pay all these contractors. It's something that we'll be following up. We'll be at the County Assembly buildings later in the evening. Back to you, Olive Barrows.
All right, thank you, Bill. That's Bill Oteno speaking to us from Taita Taveta. Now joining us from Murang'a County is Martin Mora. Martin, what are you on this morning? And I don't mean any illicit drugs, but what are you following up on for us this morning?
Okay, it's a good morning here from County 021. It's actually a good Friday morning, I should say. And just to update our viewer what stories that we are following up on that we'll be able to hear at our subsequent bulletin is farmers, not only in Murang'a, but farmers countrywide continue counting losses after the locust invasion. I have been following up on this issue, and Oliver can tell you that our farmers are really despairing. They're discouraged and frustrated. They're saying that the government has totally failed to control and eradicate these locusts that invaded their farms for the last 2 weeks. Now they're saying that for the time the locusts have been there, they have ravaged everything, and there's nothing that they will be able to harvest or even they'll be able to give to their cows as fodder. Something else that we are following up on, Olive, today is that Kenyatta National Hospital, in conjunction with local leaders, that is the Murang'a Women Rep, Ahadi Kenya Trust, and Mathioya CDF, will today be hosting a major medical camp, which also will also be a screening center. Cancer will also be used as a cancer screening center today at Keriaine Mission Hospital today. And apart from the screening, also there will also be NHIF registration. There will also be registration of persons, and also application and issuing of new identity cards and replacement of the old ones. That is an activity that has been arranged by local leaders in conjunction with Kenyatta National Hospital that will offer the screening and also the medical camp. Something else that I would like to update our viewers is we mentioned this week that there's a hippo in Maragua sub-county, that is the area of Gedanje and Methi, that is making the residents to have sleepless nights. But KWS has promised that it will continue to mount the hunt for it before it causes more havoc to their farms, or even endangers the lives, or even takes the life of a citizen or a resident of that area. Those are some of the few stories that we are following up from this County 021. We'll keep you updated as more unfold. Back to you, Olive.
All right. Thank you, Martin. And as you can tell, our correspondents always have their pulse, or rather their finger on the pulse of their counties. Now we cross over to Migori County, where Bernard Ojwang is standing by. We've had a bit of what's happening in the coast. We've had a little bit of what's happening in central Kenya. Now, Bernard, what's happening in your region, that is Western Kenya?
Well, Olive, nothing much happening here. And remember, the Minister of Education has been in the forefront pushing for 100% transition, that is from primary to secondary. We saw on Wednesday, Education Minister, Professor George Magoa was in Kisumu. He was accompanied by several chiefs. They were moving across the villages at least to ensure that no child who sat for KCP last year is still at home. And of course, what's happening here, especially in Homa Bay, Kasipul constituency, there over 3,000 students will be given bursary. That is, it is a function that will be attended by education stakeholders led by the area MP Ongondo Were. And remember, they are recently they have been in the forefront, asking the government to ensure that for them to ensure that 100% transition from primary to secondary education is a success. They should also introduce the issue of art and craft technical courses as from primary school to ensure that these young learners are well equipped with skills, so that when it comes to maybe class 8 or secondary school, they are well equipped. They as a way of solving the issue of unemployment in the country. Olive, we'll be moving around Homa Bay County at least to talk to some of the locals over the issue of fishing. Remember, they had been having issues with the Ugandan police officers. They are saying that police officers have been mistreating them whenever they go to the deep waters, at least to fish. And remember, these are the stories that we are currently following up. We'll be packaging for our subsequent bulletin. Olive.
All right, Bernard, and my mistake, he is in Homa Bay. All right, let's find out what's happening in Nyeri County. Melita Oletenges, how are you this morning, and what stories are you following up on for us?
Thank you very much, Olive. I'm doing very fine. Thank you. We are coming to you from Nyeri. And of course, today we have a number of things that we are following up on from this side of the country. Number one is that the Ministry of Education has now continued on the door-to-door campaign to ensure the 100% transition by class 8 pupils to secondary schools. And we understand that in parts of Nyeri, some villages and even some of the slums around, the education officers have been going on asking for the parents who have not released their children rather to go to school. And this is a story we are keenly following up on. Remember, some of these students had opted to drop out or even join vocational centers, but this is not what the Ministry of Education has planned for them, and they are going around ensuring that every pupil that has not yet been admitted to Form 1 joins a school nearby, or just a school to further their studies. And this is something, of course, that the Ministry of Education through the CS Magoa has continued to call on all parents and also guardians to ensure that all the pupils who sat for the examinations in the year 2019 join different secondary schools this year. Aside from that, Olive, is also that the 4th of February was the National Cancer Day, and of course it was observed across the country. But here in Nyeri specifically, there was a report that was released by the national government through the Deputy Governor, Caroline Karugu, saying that a mammogram screening campaign that was conducted for about 5 weeks was released, and the data indicated that about 80 85% of women in Nyeri, to be specific, have not gone through a mammogram screening campaign, and this of course puts them at a risk of not realizing if they have a cancer or not. And of course some of the myths also surrounding the mammogram and biopsy that is to be conducted in the hospital. Some of the women believe that this mammogram screening may even have them conduct cancer, and some of the myths surrounding it also, they are not sure why the screening should be undertaken. And of course this is something that the county has moved forward to address, and we understand that there will be a second phase. The first phase reached about 15,000 women in the county. There will be a second phase, and you've seen the county reaching out to corporates to also support this campaign, the latest being the Kenya Pipeline Company, which has supported the county with about 5 million shillings to continue with this campaign. So this is also a story we are following up on, of course, to get the data, and of course to also see the perception of the women here in Nyeri regarding this particular campaign, and of course just to see whether most of them will also get to hospitals to also get screened on this monster disease. But those are the stories you're following up on. But for now, over to you in studio, Olive, sir.
All right, thank you, Melita. Melita, like Bernardo Juang, following up on the 100% transition to secondary school, and like his comrade, I should say, in Murang'a County, that is Martin Mora, also following up on medical issues. More specifically, Melita is on the cancer beat. All right, and as I mentioned at the top, of course, there are the 14 children who perished in Kakamega. We have Zacchaeus Mwasame in that county. A funeral service is scheduled to be held today. Zacchaeus, are you on ground, and what is the mood like?
Thank you so much. We are coming to you live from Kakamega, just outside the Kakamega referral mortuary, where the preparation for the bodies is ongoing now. The parents have come here. They are doing what we call the dressing and even putting the caskets before the bodies are transported to the Bukhungu Stadium, where a joint requiem mass will be held later. That is from around 10 to 10:30 a.m. That is an event that has been organized jointly by the national government and the Kakamega County government. Each family has been given a stipend of 100,000 to facilitate the whole process of funeral. Now, this is something that we have been following, and as you understand, is that 13 families are the ones now doing that particular exercise. One family already buried their loved one on Wednesday at the Kakamega Cemetery, Muslim Cemetery. And therefore, we are just outside here. As you can see, the other side, if my camera person can be able to see, the vehicles already lined up here to transport the bodies to the Bukhungu Stadium, where that requiem mass will be happening. We expect several leaders from this region to attend that ceremony. Yesterday, the pathologist or the autopsy report recorded that these children died as a result of suffocation, and that has now actually opened the way, because the question have been lingering in the minds of parents and even residents here. But at least yesterday, the pathological report came out clear and showed that the children died as a result of suffocation. And also, a question arose yesterday from some of the survivors. They said that a class 5 pupil is the one who, caused the stampede by threatening that there was an evil spirit in class. He wore a face mask, shouted in class, and that triggered the students to start running for their safety. They then went downstairs, and then the stampede happened. So that is one of the theories that has come up just yesterday. We also expect the report from the DCI and the security agents, who are also doing their independent investigation into what could have transpired and led to the death of the 14 souls. So we will be here at the mortuary and also at the Bukhungu Stadium to give you up to date. It will be a live event on NTV, and therefore we promise you to stick to us so that we can give you every event that happens here in Kakamega. My name is Zacchaeus Mwasame, and back to you in studio.
All right, thank you, Mwasame. And as he said, we stay on top of that story, and our hearts do go out to those bereaved. Now, let's take a quick look at today's diary. And as I said, the funeral service for the 14 who lost their lives in the Kakamega Primary School tragedy is slated to take place in Bukungu. The top political leadership of Western Kenya's political class is expected to attend the service, as key officials from the Ministry of Education are also expected. Well, the Pan-African mortgage lender, Shelter Afrique, and the Ministry of Housing are expected to issue a joint communique this morning in Nairobi. The lender's contribution to the Big Four affordable housing agenda is expected to take center stage during the forum as the government seeks to meet its target of affordable housing units. And leaders in the private sector are converging in Nairobi to discuss opportunities and challenges bound to shape the economy in 2020. This meeting comes against the backdrop of the repeal of the interest rate cap in November of 2019, and access to credit is expected to be a key discussion point. The meeting also comes 2 days after the government operationalized the 4 billion shillings Stawisha Mashinani Fund targeting lending to SMEs.